All right, a big, warm round of applause for Pauline Jean and her esteemed guest. Absolutely the perfect antidote for a cold winter day. My name is John Yanofsky. I'm the director of Kupferberg Center for the Arts, and so glad that you have joined us in our latest installment in our musical journey through Queens, where we gather through this medium on screen to visit some of the incredible cultures and communities that make up our borough. And this was really an amazing treat to be exposed and take a deep dive into the folklore, the culture, the music, and Pauline and her guests. Just a very inspiring and truly uplifting performance. And hopefully folks at home have been joining us for some of our other musical journey programs. And you will know that this is a program that is being curated by the amazing couple of Dan and Claudia Zanes, who have put this entire program together, really put their thumbprint on it. And it's my great, great pleasure and privilege to bring them into the broadcast and welcome Dan and Claudia.
Thank you, John. Hey, John. Good to see you. So great to be here with you.
That was so good.
It's great to see you. I love the flag behind you. I love the color, the energy coming from you guys always. I know this is a program really very close, near and dear to both of your hearts, both of your musical personalities and what you all do. So it's really been a pleasure to watch the program you put together, particularly today. So thank you for introducing us and our audiences to Pauline and her guests and the incredible music that we just heard. So I'm going to pass it over to you all to kind of lead the conversation. I will certainly be back and have a wonderful conversation. Let's bring in Pauline then.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, John.
Woo! All right.
Hello. Oh, thank you.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Viewers, Pauline, welcome everyone.
Thank you.
You know, I just want to take a moment to just soak in that incredible show that we just saw. It was so moving, so inspiring. I want to also, you know, our viewers may not know this, but Pauline Jean happens to be she is my sister. Maybe not by blood, but this is my sister. Pauline and I go back, almost 17 years ago. So we have a long history. We are both first generation Haitian-Americans.
Yes.
And so, you know, here we are celebrating the first Black Republic. We're listening to the music. Pauline, you took us on a journey. So welcome. It is such a privilege to have you here. And I'm also going to put this out here too. Pauline is also the matchmaker. Okay. She introduced me to my husband almost 4 years, just over 4 years ago. So Pauline does it all. She sings, she matchmakes.
And if you need help in that area.
I'm Cupid.
That's right. It's on her resume too. So anyway, Pauline, welcome. Great to have you here.
So good.
Thank you.
So good to be here with you guys.
Yes, we miss making music with you, but to be here in this atmosphere with you is just so heartwarming. And my question, one of my first questions for you, you know, as a Haitian American, right, first generation, I'm interested in knowing, you know, how has the Haitian music really helped connect you even deeper to your culture, to Haitian culture?
Oh my goodness. I mean, it's the roots. It's who you are. It's who I am. And so, you know, just getting exposed and learning more about my Haitian heritage brought me closer. It just enlightens me. It makes me appreciate who I am. You know, Haiti has so much to offer historically, culturally to the world. And so it makes me proud to come from the first Black Republic, uprooting slavery from its shores. So, you know, and it's just so strong and it's who I am. So it just brought me closer to my Haitian roots.
We can hear it. We can feel it.
I have a question for you.
Sure.
I was thinking to when I met you, when I lived in East Flatbush, and I would walk through the neighborhood and get to know my neighbors. And I met your cousins, the Laurent family, and we started hanging out. And so I met you at one of their parties.
Yes.
And I remember that clearly. And you gave me your CD, which we still listen to and love. And that's on the playlist.
Thank you.
But when I started listening to Haitian music was when I lived in East Flatbush, and I could not believe that the entire world wasn't listening to Haitian music all the time. You know, that it was almost like the people in my circles, the sort of the white music listeners that I hung around with, didn't really have a whole lot of experience with Haitian music. And I wonder, it seems like every part of the world gets their turn, but Haiti never got their turn in the mainstream. And I wonder if you have any thoughts on why that is. Because the music is so good.
Yeah, it's so good and so rich. One of the things that I really would love to see in Haiti is a musical cultural center that just centers just the history of Haitian music from the inception, because the music of Haiti is so rich. And not a lot of people know this, but high art existed in Haiti since the 18th century and 19th century. We had, high art, classical music, and up until what you see today. And I just think that, Haiti has always been given the short end of the stick because of its historical connection with being the first Black republic to uproot slavery from its shores. And at one point in time, Haiti was very much isolated. So a lot of things that came from Haiti doesn't really get the credit and the recognition. Mm-hmm. So I think what it is, it's up to us as, being a Haitian in the diaspora, or the Haitians itself in Haiti, to actually kind of create this mecca of Haiti music so that the world could know and learn more of. So I just think it's just more exposure, but it's just having that platform. There is the Konpa, and there's a lot of the popular music of Haiti for now. But again, the world doesn't know about it because it just needs to get a little bit more exposure more globally. And, and I think it is in Africa and in the Caribbean and so on and so forth. But, for more mainstream, I just think that it's really up to us. I don't really have all the answers, but I just think it's up to this generation to make it happen.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. I love the idea of a place where all of that is featured, because like you said, in your live show, is, Haitian music has inspired so many other forms of music as well.
Exactly.
So Pauline, I know your story, but I think our viewers would be really interested to hear about how you came to be a full-time musician. Because as we know, we are daughters of Haitian parents. And our Haitian parents, when they come to this country, you can have 4 jobs, right? Doctor,
lawyer,
engineer,
nurse.
Okay. Those are the 4 positions, right? So I know they want the best for us. There's no doubt about that. But oftentimes we find that our Haitian parents don't fully understand why we want to go into the arts and why we want to pursue a life of music. So could you speak to us a little bit about your journey and how you knew that music was in you and this was what you were called to do?
Well, interestingly enough, I always wanted to just, I sang in the choir, I did music, but I never thought of being an artist or a performer. And I worked previously as a paralegal in New York City for a while, and I was going into law. But, during high school, I went to music and art and performing arts, and I was a music and a vocal major. So I've always sang, but I always never thought of it as being professional. And so right now, when I started to get the bug and, I started taking classes here and there at the Queens Conservatory of Music, Brooklyn Queens Conservatory. And I started, just singing with different groups. And, I worked at the law firm, and then from the law firm, I did the music, and I started taking these classes, and I had a show. I invited everyone from my job to come to the first performance that I ever done. It was at the Duplex Cabaret Theater. And I was, that's when I got immersed into jazz. And it was a bug from there. And a coworker told me, Pauline, your time is now. You really should pursue this. And I never thought of pursuing it. And then I decided to leave my job and just go pursue my career and love for music. And that's where I met you, Claudia, at Berklee College of
No, and I think that's a really great message for young folks and not so young folks, is that, you know, when you have a calling, it doesn't matter what's going on, but you can always change your path, right? You can always find your way at whatever point in life.
You know, and I always feel like music, you know, I think it's a calling. It's something that for me, it called me. It's something that I ended up doing. I had no idea I was going to do. I knew that I did music. I knew I sang and I did this, but to do it professionally, never in my wildest dreams I thought I would do that. So I really feel like it's something that calls you, and I listen to the call. Amen. That's how.
Amen.
We have a couple questions from Facebook. Tech Minsky wants to know two things. One, do you have any favorite Haitian folktales? And also, were you born in Haiti? And so maybe this is a good time. It might be good to sort of explain really what it means to be first generation. I know you kind of already touched on that, but just sort of feed in both worlds.
So my parents they're from Haiti, but I was born in the United States. So, you know, my parents had 9 children. I'm the 9th child, and I have a twin brother. And my twin brother and I, we were born in Harlem, actually, in New York. And so I'm just first generation Haitian. So but it doesn't matter, because while I'm in the United States, we're still in Haiti, you know. So I just happen to be born I just happened to be born in the United States, but Haiti was all around us, the communities, the churches, you know, everywhere around us, the neighborhood, you know, it was just, you know, Haitians all around. So with respect to some wise tales, I mean, man, there's just so many. And my mom is really good at those things, like the click-clock and a lot of these things. I'm not that great in those tales. I like listening to them. But so I'm sorry, Tech, I don't have a click-clock to give you right now. But you know, I have to get my mother on this next time to share with you all.
There we go.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. So Pauline, I'm curious, during, I guess, you know, in these times, in this pandemic time, I'd like to know where you're finding inspiration from. How are you creating in this time? What keeps you motivated and going?
Wow. There's so much. It's so much. I think that, you know, when you look all around, and it can get to the point where you can be so discouraged. But I feel as if, you know, try to take a positive outlook on certain things, and given the opportunity we have to kind of create, I just find inspiration in everything all around me, even during this situation, this pandemic situation, taking a situation and kind of creating from it. And, you know, just being inspired to just write about the certain, you know, climate, the political climate that's happening around us, or, you know, just the need to have some positivity around. And, you know, I get inspiration from reading books, and I get inspiration from listening to other music, and then just tapping into my artistry, and not forgetting who I am during this pandemic, and not letting this pandemic define me. So I just use that as a tool of, you know, God created me to be here, to be in the ministry of music. You know, let me use this time that I have to be a blessing to others.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
So we know when we're learning about each other that music is one of the great doorways, but it feels like one of the other great doorways is food. Ooh. So can we talk about Haitian food for a minute?
Oh my gosh, guys. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be biased, but like I said before, Haitian food is one of the best cuisines.
Tell that. Yes. Yes.
I mean, listen, if you haven't had some Haitian food, your guys need to have some Haitian food, because
where should people start? If people go into a Haitian restaurant for the first time, what do you think is a good starting place? Or a bakery?
A bakery, the pate.
Tell them what pate is, Pauline.
Well, pate, you know how it's like a patty, just there's Jamaican beef patty, and there's Haitian patties, but it's like it's like a crust on the outside, and inside it can be meat, or it can be filled with some spinach or herring, which we call arançon, or it can be filled with what is the other the codfish.
Yep, the codfish.
And it's just a nice meaty little patty that's like palatable to your palate. So it's really, really great. That's for the bakery, for me. And then the bread, also the Haitian bread. It's like very doughy, but not that you should have a lot of that because, oh God. Because I have it and COVID is catching up, COVID.
COVID pounds, that's all right.
COVID pounds, all right.
But Pauline, what do you love? So I know firsthand that Pauline's mom can cook.
Ooh.
Mommy can cook. Mommy throws down.
Mommy
right?
throws down.
So can you talk about some of the dishes? Like if folks do go to a Haitian restaurant, what might they order? As they're warming up to Haitian food.
I think as they're warming up to Haitian food, you can have fritai.
Mm-hmm.
Fritai is like bun and perze. It's like fried plantains. It's mixed with, you can have like little fried, like a goat or, some beef or, and they also have, what is this, a little vegetable, what do you call it?
No, I know what you're talking about.
Yes, marinade. And you can start off with like little, it's like appetizers of that way. Or sometimes you could just have that and that could be your whole main course. And from that, I would go to diri or pakole, which is like rice and beans. And you can have it with, whatever protein you want, whatever type of meat or fish. Or you can have, white rice with sauce pois, which is bean sauce, and with the type of meat, and of course you have your vegetables on the side, your kalalu, your whatever the case may be you want. But it's just so filling and just so appetizing. I mean, it's really great food. Just try some fritai first, and then just.
Yes. But before we move from the food, Pauline, can you just tell the audience a little bit? One of the things I love is the soup jumu we have every first of the year.
Oh,
and I think the historical context of that is really important. So maybe you could share a little bit about why we eat this soup every first of the year.
Okay, so soup jumu is also known as pumpkin soup. And so what ended up happening is during the time of slavery and Haiti decided to just uprise and, remove slavery from its shores. So during the Haitian Revolution, Haiti won. The first thing that those that were enslaved that they did was they had the soup jumu, because that soup jumu or the pumpkin soup was a luxury that they could not have at all. So, and so for that reason, every 1st of January, Haitians all around the world have soup jumu as a reminder that they have defeated the French.
And that's powerful. That is so powerful because, like Pauline said, it was a soup that we weren't allowed to eat. But the thing was, we were always forced to prepare that for our labor. So to be able to eat it and to make it fabulous, it's delicious soup.
Fabulous.
And the thing I love about that soup jumu too, it doesn't matter if you're poor, if you're rich, it doesn't matter where you are on the island, everybody's going to have soup.
Yes, everybody has soup jumu.
Yes.
And it's really tasty.
Yes, that's right. Okay, Pauline, we have a question from a scat question from Ira Schloss.
Yes.
And she's asking, so when you were scatting, it sounded different each time you were doing it. So she wants to know if these sounds are repeated or are they different each time? Can you speak to
They're different each time. One of the beautiful things about jazz and scat music is the method of improvising. So you're improvising on the spot. And, so scatting is just sensible words. Like, so you're making up the words as you're going. It's like shubu-dubu-doo, shabba-dabba-da, la la la, ya ya ya, it's like shabba, ba-da-da, so you're able to interpret it however you want. And so it's not it wasn't repetitive. No, it wasn't. It was different. It was whatever was coming in my mind at that time. Improvised music.
Yes.
You know what I loved, you know what I was reminded of watching your show today was just how when I moved to East Flatbush and I got interested in Haitian music, I started to realize that New York was filled with superstars in the world of Haitian music. And the first time I went out, I'm so glad that you went to Triomph Muzik to go and see Mario Di Volcy and Richard de Rousseau, because I could not believe the first time I met Mario that I was actually someone whose picture I knew from the cover of records. There he was. And he was such a generous, he was so generous with me. Because, you know, I was just a, you know, white dude coming in, like trying to learn about Haitian music. And he was so patient with me. And you know, really taught me a lot. And I realized that that's one of the things that he's done for so many people, is to kind of connect people with each other. And so for you, when were you first aware of how rich the culture in Brooklyn and Queens was with the musicians from the older generations?
Oh my, I mean, geez, that's like this is a question that's like it's just embedded. I mean, there's the influence of Haiti is all around, like Brooklyn and Queens and everywhere. And so, you know, even in churches everywhere. I think like going to Muzik Triomph was like, you know, another place where you can go and you can see the history all over the place. And just the richness of the culture. And it was just amazing to just be there to witness. And, you know, also for me, going to Haiti back and forth, working with some of these, some amazing musicians who are just really willing to share the history and the traditions with me. You know, I you know, a lot of like the sambas, or, you know, those who knows about the history. It's just amazing. Going again to the Muzik Triomph is just amazing. And just, you know, I worked with Richard de Rousseau before at one point in time, and meeting him, an iconic legend, you know, one of the founders of Konpa Direct, who's still with us. You know, I nurture that, and I just try to learn as much as I can with them. So it's just all around this type of music. And, you know, I've just, you know, since getting involved in the music and doing music, I've just been surrounded by just amazing artists that has brought me closer to the music.
Beautiful. And speaking of music, that's what we've been talking about this whole time. I'm curious, are you working on anything right now? Can you tell us a little bit about what you're up to in these days? Well,
of course I'm working on a lot of different things. But you guys have to stay tuned about that. But I mean, yeah, I just, I'm a historical buff, so I love history. So I'm just researching. I'm in the point of researching right now. And then I start to just bring in my ideas. So I'm just at the point of just researching and reading different things, getting inspired, you know, and just looking forward to what's going to come from my research, and just reading, and just, you know, focusing on like Pan-Africanism, and just doing a lot of stuff with that, with respect to that.
Well, definitely stay tuned for that.
Yeah. Can you tell people about the video that you put out not too long ago? That was great.
I'm waiting.
Oh, for Ain't I a Woman?
Yeah.
With Sojourner Truth. Yeah. Just, I recently put out a video about Sojourner Truth. I think Sojourner Truth is the truth. She is one of the iconic, you know, many people know of her and her name, but not many people know the significance, the magnitude of her life. And so I felt that I wanted to just kind of bring that out in the modern way, how a woman who spoke truth to power when it was so just unpopular to do so. And just, you know, being the first, you know, a woman of African descent to be able to sue a white man when it was not, you know, known to do so and win. Being a woman who, just like standing up for other women and the rights to vote. And although she didn't get to see the right to vote during her time, like in 1954, you saw that coming into fruition during the Voter Rights Act. And we stand on her shoulders. And so I really wanted to honor her in a way and just bring that to light.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And so, Pauline, could you tell us a little bit about the two musicians that you played with? What is your relationship to these guys?
Oh my goodness. So Eddy Bourjolly, he's just an amazing guitarist. I'm a jazz vocalist and I've been in the scene for a while, and I've just been so fortunate to not only play with Eddy, but also collaborate on my album with him on my song Tis Oiseaux Côté ou Poilé. Eddy was great in arranging that song for me. He's just a wonderful musician, and I'm just so privileged to actually and honored to work with him, because he is one of the legends in not only just Haitian music, but just the jazz, one of the jazzers in the community. So I'm really, really honored working with him. And Jean Guy Rene, truth be told, it was my first time meeting him on that day. And again, it's like when you meet musicians, it's again, you connect with them musically and, also we're culturally. And it was just wonderful working with him. And he just fell right in as if we've been working together for a long, long time. So I look forward to doing some more music with Jean Guy Rene, so yeah.
They sounded great.
Really good.
Thank you so much. And I just also wanted to just bring about, tell you guys that, Haiti is so rich historically and musically. And I always want to make the connection with Haiti and the United States. And Haiti as being the foundation of jazz because of its inception. You look at it this way. If it wasn't for Haiti and the Haitian Revolution, you wouldn't have the Louisiana Purchase. The United States would not have New Orleans, and we would not have had Congo Square. And it was through the Haitian Revolution and a lot of the, the Haitians going through Cuba and from Cuba into New Orleans that established that basis for what we call jazz. And of course, jazz, has an evolution and has changed to what it is right now. But the basic foundation, I must give it to Haiti, because without Haiti, Haiti was free before everybody else.
That's right.
So, and we can tie it in, because the beautiful thing about Haiti is, many of the Africans were enslaved coming into Haiti. So we had those that were, it was colonized by the French, colonized by the Spanish. So we also had the Tainos and the Arawaks that were there. In and of itself, that combination creates Haiti. And that is the music from the enslaved Africans and melting and binding it together and making it what it is with the different rhythms is what gives rise to what we know as jazz. So shout out to, Haiti and the connection.
That's right. Oh,
that's probably a good place to leave it right there.
Yes. Thank you, Pauline.
Thank you for the show, for your time, for this Q&A.
Yeah.
This is really, really great.
You fed our spirit today, Pauline.
Thank you everyone for watching, and for everyone who gave me a shout out for my birthday. Thank you all.
Yes. We're going to bring our big brother, John Yanopoulos.
All right, John.
Wow, that was fantastic. And thank you for that history lesson. Thank you for, really underscoring this whole notion of this culture of resistance and affirmation through food, through music, through dance, through literature, through art. We often sometimes think art is a luxury, and art has been the force and the wedge that has been at the front of so much change. And so thank you for really helping us learn and educate and contextualize your music, because it's never just music, right? There's always so much behind the expressions that come out. So I really appreciate you really illuminating all those aspects of your culture. And if people also, I don't know if you saw, but in some of the comments, there's some YouTube links to some of the food recipes that you had mentioned. So, you know, people can definitely go and pursue some of the things that you touched on. So rich, so rich. So really, really honored to have had you. And we always like to take a minute and, you know, encourage folks to want to learn more about your music and follow your work. So I know that we have some of your social media addresses, so we can bring those up, and that's, I'm sure, where people can find more content, follow what you're doing live. That's your website, and I guess here's your Facebook. Definitely go follow, become fans. There you go.
Yes.
Check out the stories, give additional birthday greetings, share recipes.
I love you guys, so I don't mind. I'm welcome to make new friends. So, you know, come along, follow me.
That's excellent. And Dan and Claudia also, you know, definitely we always want to let people know where to find out more about what you all are doing. Always something in the can with you guys. Always something coming around the bend. Truly, you know, always pushing your own work. And then also wanted to put onto the screen, you know, Dan and Claudia were so gracious to put together this incredible playlist on Spotify of Haitian music. So right there, it's bit.ly Haitian-music-playlist. You'll find that on Spotify, or you can just type that into URL. I think Dan, it was about 4 hours of music.
Yeah, just about, and it barely scratches the surface. I didn't even get through the 80s, except for Pauline, of course. There's so much.
Yeah, this will get you started, though.
Yep.
Yes.
And I would imagine a lot of that was from your own personal collection, because the word on the street is you have one of the most impressive Haitian record collections.
That's right.
In New York.
Yeah.
So
that's right.
It's pretty amazing.
Right.
So the scholar there. And then, you know, we did want to let people know that we are continuing our musical journey through Queens. We're going to have our 4th program that Dan and Claudia have curated coming up in April, on Saturday, April 17th, with the Music of Mexico with the Villalobos brothers. And I don't know, Dan and Claudia, did you just want to make a quick mention or anything to kind of cue that up? I know you guys have worked with the Villalobos brothers before.
Sure. Yeah. It's three brothers, Luis, Beto, and Ernesto Villalobos. And they, for me, were the messengers. They were the ones who really introduced me to so much Mexican music, and also to just a huge community of Latino musicians in New York. And so we've played together. They've been on several records that I made, and Beto and Luis Villalobos played when I proposed to Claudia.
Facts. So, yeah.
It's gonna be a great show. So I hope everybody can join us for that. And we're just so honored to be able to work with you, John, and to be able to do this with Pauline today. And this, you know, this music just enriches our lives in so many ways. And so to be able to share with people is very, very important to us.
Absolutely. And, you know, it takes on even greater meaning when we're limited in our ability to congregate and gather and experience live music. I mean, this is what we get our inspiration from, that connection and that interaction between audiences and artists. So I really just am so humbled by the work that you all are doing, Pauline and Dan and Claudia, to continue to convey and put that energy even through these screens, because it's our lifeblood. It's so vital now more than ever. So so thank you, Dan and Claudia. Thank you, Pauline. Thank you to your esteemed musicians. It was truly an inspiration. I want to thank everybody at home who have joined us. It really wouldn't be the same without any of you all. And we do hope that we see you again for our next KCA online program. You can always check out our website at kupferbergcenter.org for a lineup of readings and concerts and visual art exhibitions, a whole kind of multi-genre virtual season this spring. But most importantly, we're so glad that you were here today, because it is right now, and we're going to be left with this really this beautiful taste in our mouth. So again, thank you all, everyone at home. Be safe, and we'll see you again real soon.
Take care.
All
Thank
right,
you.
thank
Everyone, bye bye.